Now to the former nuclear weapons plant known as Rocky Flats. It is now in the hands of a federal judge.
The 5,200-acre property northwest of Denver has become a lightning rod for environmental activists.
And it's not hard to see why. The would-be wildlife refuge and recreational site surrounds the same land that once processed plutonium and housed uranium. The government says, though, it's perfectly safe. Opponents say they want more proof.
And Denver 7's Russell Haythorne is joining us now. And Russell, neighbors argue opening the site is a serious health risk.
And activists argue that the soil out at Rocky Flats is still radioactive. So if you open it up to trail running, hiking, biking, horseback riding, then that disrupts the soil and sends those radioactive particulates into the air, causing a major public health risk. Arguments were made here at federal court today, and as you can imagine, emotions were running high. Their stories are all so similar.
There's no safe level of exposure here.
My dad worked at Rocky Flats as part of the cleanup back in 1999 to 2000, 2001.
My son is 10. We discover a massive heart tumor.
Neighbors who either grew up near Rocky Flats or moved here years ago, calling it sheer madness to open the old nuclear bomb factory site to the public.
This is absolutely absurd that they are advocating for recreation in and around a nuclear waste Superfund site.
The argument made in federal court today is that the site is still highly contaminated with plutonium, and any disruption of the soil could cause serious health risks.
The most lethal form of plutonium exposure is inhalation.
Elizabeth Panzer's 14-year-old son has been battling a rare heart cancer for the past 4 years. She doesn't know what caused the cancer.
But I do know the same time my son was diagnosed and we found it, a neighbor came knocking on my door. 2 months prior, her husband had been diagnosed with the same very rare cancer.
But the government says it spent $7 billion in nearly a decade cleaning up the site, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service claims it is safe.
I do believe it's safe. I've taken my kids there.
Activists argue opening the site will put millions on the Front Range at risk of deadly airborne pollutants.
A shameless type of greed that's willing to put people's health at risk.
There is no such thing as a safe level of exposure to weapons-grade plutonium.
Advocates argued that they want the judge to keep the site closed until more soil studies can be conducted. They just wrapped up arguments here inside the federal courthouse about 15 minutes ago. The judge said he would take it all under advisement and issue a written statement. We're live in downtown. Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
We'll be sure to follow up on that. Thank you, Russell.